to...
Okay, so we're going to continue with glazing the triangle. This is the second day. This is dried out overnight, so the glaze has the bisque has had the opportunity to dry out, so that now I can put the second color on. I just noticed something on the bottom. This is important. Somewhere along the line, a little bit of glaze got on the bottom of my triangle. So when I'm completely done today, I have to make sure that's not there, because that will cause this to stick to the kill. Okay, so I'm going to be putting white onto these letters here because I have the texture in the background, and I'm guessing, I'm not sure, that the red in the texture is going to mix with the white that I'm going to put on and cause the white to look a little bit different in those areas. If it doesn't, I'm going to have white on red, which is fine with me. So opening this up, I already stirred it a little bit this morning, but I'm going to stir it a little bit more just to make sure that the white is good and ready to go. I'm going to get it going one direction, and then I spin it back the other direction just to get it really well stirred up. Once I've done that, just going to let it settle for a second. The brush I use is the same brush as we use for the slip, but I've made sure to wash it out. If you just wash it out, you need to make sure to stir it into the glaze and then push it to the side of the bucket a little bit, just to make sure you don't have extra water in the brush, because that'll make your glaze too watery. So the important thing with using a brush is when you pull it out of the glaze, it's going to have a lot of glaze in here. And when you touch it to something, it'll then run all over the place. So before I move it from here to here, I'm going to touch it a little bit to the edge of the bucket so that it doesn't have too much glaze in there. And if you'll notice, I am not painting, but I am just kind of dabbing it on there and letting it pool up. I'm kind of controlling a little puddle. Okay, so that's one layer, and I'm going to put two layers on there eventually, but I'm going to move to the second letter. And then I'll keep going. I'm trying to make sure that I don't see any of the bisque that I've wiped off once I've put the white glaze on there. If there's a little spot, it'll show up when everything is done. You can see this brush is a little big for what I'm doing. You can try and find smaller brushes, but so far I'm doing okay with this, just keeping it turned at the right angle. I'm just going to take this down one time to the end, and then I'll show you how it works putting the second layer on there. Do not drop my phone in the glaze. Would not be funny. Okay, so now I've put one layer on there, and now I'm going to go back and just repeat, making sure this time, this is my final layer, I want to make sure the edges look the way I want them to look, so everything is covered up. If anything, overlap the two colors, like right in here, you can see a little bit of the bisque. I'm going to make sure that I cover that up until I've got the whole letter covered. And you can still see the texture of those little circles in the background. That's good. That means I'm going to be able to see it when the glaze melts. If it gets really covered up and it's so thick that you can't see that anymore, then you don't really know if it's going to be there in the end. So I'm going to just finish with this T to show two example letters, and then I'm going to stop the video, because this is this shows that I've got one layer here. I've put two layers on here. This is what it should look like when it's finished. I have a little bit dripping around the edge. I'm not too worried about that. The red and the white will mix together. What I am concerned about is like this area. I want to make sure that I have all the bisque that has been exposed when I cleaned it covered up. I don't want to have any of the spots not have glaze on it. So that's the way you put the second color on. I might put white on the back, or I may change it up and put black on the back. So I'll have white on the front and then black on the back with a red on the background. Remember to make sure the bottom is completely cleaned, and when you're completely done, it goes over on the shelf where it says completely finished.